Good morning and welcome to the Wright County Board meeting for November 7th, 2017. We'll begin this morning with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank you all. We have 2 minutes that we'll be approving this morning. The first one was the County Board minutes meeting from October 23rd regarding the Lake Improvement District at Maple Lake. So, if anyone had a chance to look at them?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Delight, second by Commissioner Hewsome. Further discussion? Lee, did you have any additions or corrections?
I did not.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. And then the County Board minutes from October 24th, 2017.
I'll make a motion to approve the board minutes.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Delight, second by Commissioner Potter. Seeing no additions, changes there, we'll go all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved. The agenda for today, has anyone had any additions?
Mr. Chair, I believe there's a couple things.
Okay.
I know, looks like Bob has one item, we'll address that, and then I have an addition to the technology committee.
Apparently we're not chastising our people enough for...
Me first?
Okay.
Board, I have 2 informational things to add to my agenda. One is introduction of the ditch coordinator, and another one is a quick update on Thursday's JD15 meeting in Cokato Township.
These are just information.
Just information.
Okay.
Okay, and Chief Deputy Mr. Hoffman.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, members of the board, on the consent agenda, item H under information technology, we'd like to add an F, Zerker discussion.
And that would just be added to the consent agenda?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Okay. No objection to that, anyway? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the 3 noted changes.
I'll second that.
Okay, there were 3?
Well, Bob had 2 informational and...
Oh, got it, okay. Okay, I only saw one of you. All right, so motion by Commissioner Potter, was it seconded by you, Christine?
Yes.
Seconded by Commissioner Hewsome for the agenda for today with the changes. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Then we'll act on the consent agenda next. It's a long consent agenda today.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition of F on information technology.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Delighted.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Potter. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Now we're down to time. That took care of a lot of our... We don't have much left here, do we, Lee?
Oh, we do have...
Okay.
Well, we have the important stuff left.
Okay. 9:02, Mr. Adam Tagaro, our Information Technology Director. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Board. This morning I'd like to introduce Scott Weiland. He is our new business analyst in IT. And Scott, you can kind of come up here if you want. He joined us a couple of weeks ago, has hit the ground running, and what we've assigned him to initially is our ERP research. Scott has a wealth of business analysis experience and recently was at Ameriprise. So,
Oh.
gotta say a little something about yourself.
Good morning. I've spent 30 years of my career kind of at the intersection of business and technology. I've been a business analyst, a project manager, a technical project manager, and a release manager, so kind of all roles in that area. Mostly for 2 big financial service firms downtown. One Voya for 22 years, and I was at Ameriprise for 8 years. On a personal note, I live in Champlin, married with a son and a 6-week-old grandson.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here at Wright County.
We're glad to have
Easier
you.
commute?
Not bad. It's not a bad
Yeah.
commute at all.
Okay.
Well, welcome. Glad to have you aboard.
Thank you.
You know,
with your business background, having you do the ERP should be right up your alley.
Yeah, yeah. Digging into it right now. It's interesting. Been through a little bit of it in my career on more of the technical side, but I've also been on the business side of it. So.
Well, we're looking forward to you solving all of our problems.
You have
Maybe one or two.
You have till noon today to get them all done.
One by one.
You're really pushing them. I'd give them till 1 anyway after lunch.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome to the Wright County.
And next up, Chief Deputy Todd Hoffman.
Morning again, Mr. Chair and members of the board. The Wright County Sheriff's Office is requesting a schedule of the Committee of the Whole to discuss billing/collections of bills from the Wright County Jail. As most of you are aware, the Wright County Jail bills inmates for booking fees, pay for stay, and also medical fees that are accumulated during their stay in the Wright County Jail. There is a current process where an outside company is utilized to collect some of that old debt. At a certain point in time, that debt becomes harder to
Uncollectible.
collect on. We've had initial meetings with the auditor's office, Bob's staff, and also Sue Virgin and Coordinator Kelly's office about some possible changes to that process. But to write off some of this old debt, I think the full board needs to kind of be aware of where we're at now, and where we'd like to go in the future.
Okay. Lee, did you have any, or Todd, did you have any dates that you wanted to propose?
We had a couple thoughts. There is a little element of timeliness with this due. I think there is a statute of limitations kind of on a look back. We have quite a few committee of the wholes coming up in the next couple weeks. Just throwing out a few dates, perhaps the 13th prior to Health and Human Services, or 14th is pretty full, perhaps the afternoon of the 15th. Otherwise, we could look out at that next week.
13th, I wouldn't be available.
You would not be available?
No, that's two of us. 15th would be better.
In the afternoon, yeah, since we'll be here for the evening meeting anyway.
We'll be here at 7 for our public hearing.
Should we do it later then, so we don't have to go back and forth?
We can't really have them necessarily.
Okay.
What about the 21st?
Is that too,
Or get too late.
is that too late?
I think that could work. Keep in mind, I believe we have the elected official salary.
Yeah, I was
Committee of the
thinking like
whole
maybe
that day.
1 o'clock or
Well,
so.
Look at that
Mr. Chair,
afternoon.
1:30.
with the, all due respect to Commissioner Delyden, the 2 o'clock has WCAT meeting in Buffalo, and then I have
Oh, okay.
library board heavy agenda, as we had the last month's meeting canceled because of the death of the one commissioner up in Morrison County.
Oh,
One time that was originally mentioned was February 15th at 1 o'clock. Was there a conflict at 1 o'clock on February?
February?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. November 15th. Right after the IT committee, or shortly thereafter.
Mr. Chair, that would work for me. if
I-
it works for
I-
everyone.
Make it work, that'd be my safest one here,
the 15th?
Okay,
the
So
15th.
the 15th at what time?
1.
If 1 o'clock works for the
Yeah.
board.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to set the committee of the whole for 1 o'clock on November 15th.
Okay.
Second it.
Motion by Commissioner Hewson, second by Commissioner Delyden, to set the date for the Committee of the Whole regarding the jail billing collection process to November 15th at 1 o'clock p.m. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief
Thank you.
Deputy.
Next up, Mr. Oh, go ahead.
Would you please email Commissioner Vetch that info, just so that he's aware of it? He might be watching us from his,
I'm sure you will.
I mean, normally, people that go to Disney World and stuff like that, get bored, so I would assume he'd want to watch us today.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, and Mr. Bob Havela, our Auditor Treasurer, good morning.
Watching
Bob.
paint dry. What is it?
Hey, good morning, Board. I know the first item on the agenda is right on 36, but because it is a legal proceeding and we now have a ditch coordinator, I'd like to take this time to introduce Matt Detchen. Matt is joining us right at the time that we are doing reestablishment of records, redeterminations, repairs, grant applications, so I'm glad to have Matt. So if you want to tell them about yourself.
Yeah, so recently I was working at 3M, but before that I worked at the Natural Resources Research Institute in Duluth, and I did a lot with water quality and did some studies on vernal pools or seasonal wetlands. So yeah, I think I got a good background. I'm excited to come in here. I'm currently commuting from Bloomington, so I'm excited to hopefully move around the area, and yeah, I'm excited to get to work though.
Good.
Okay, and I just wanted to say had the pleasure of sitting in, and we had for the two finalists, two very, very good candidates. I don't think we could have made a bad choice, but really good to see you on board. So thank you, Matt.
And Mr. Chair,
go ahead.
another thing, Matt, keep in mind that Bob made a big mess and you're here to clean it up.
Board, I'll have to introduce Matt to audiobooks. No. So, Board, the first time on the agenda is, remember we had the public hearing on all three of our ditch systems. 38 was continued, but the other two public hearings had closed. So I'm going to have Greg walk you through the adoption of the resolutions on 36 and 18.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the first resolution before you is concerning County Ditch 36, so you'll be acting in your position as the ditch authority for County Ditch 36. The resolution before you is the findings and order correcting drainage system records for Wright County Ditch 36. You would be adopting this resolution and reviewing it pursuant to your powers established under Minnesota Statute 103E.101, Subdivision 4A. Staff has compiled the record and the resolution as you directed at the public hearing, at the closure of the public hearing. The technical memorandum has been attached as Exhibit A and has been finalized according to the comments received and according to your discussion and directive.
Okay, so we just basically need a motion to
Make a motion to approve records corrections for County Ditch 36.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Delight, second by Commissioner Potter. This is a resolution. Commissioner Hewson, could you start off?
Aye.
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 Resolution carries 4-0. Oh, whatever. I guess we can't get any better.
Not today.
Unanimous.
Okay, and then we had another one too?
We do, Mr. Chair. The second one, you'll be acting as your capacity as the drainage authority for Wright County Ditch 18. Again, this is a resolution with the findings and order correcting drainage system records for Wright County Ditch 18. Again, pursuant to your powers under Minnesota Statute 103E.101, Subdivision 4A. Staff again has compiled the resolution as you directed at the closure of the public hearing and incorporated the engineer's technical memorandum with any updates that were required after the public hearing.
Okay, and I will entertain a motion to adopt that resolution.
I will so move, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hewson, second by Commissioner Potter. Further discussion? Seeing none, and this is a resolution as well, I vote aye.
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 Okay, resolution carries. Thank you.
All right, and then, Mr. Chair, the last item is just a request to table the hearing or continue the hearing on the correction of drainage system records for County Ditch 38. Staff is proposing a date of November 28th to continue this to. Staff is still in discussions with the Soneses on trying to reach a resolution on this. So I think we're close, but we just need more time.
Okay, and then you would
Need a motion for that?
Yeah, just a
I'll make a motion to continue the hearing on County Ditch 38
to November 28th?
to November 28th.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Greg, is this going to be during our regular board meeting, or is this a special meeting?
No, regular board meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, at the public hearing, we had set it on this date, so I just want to
Yep.
formally continue it out
Okay.
another 3 weeks.
I had written special assessments, so I'm not sure if that's the same.
No.
Is that the same deal? No.
No.
Okay, at 9:30? All right.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Second by Commissioner Potter, okay. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Just a quick comment. Commissioner Vetch said that November 15th at 1 o'clock was good for him.
Okay, good.
He is watching, and he states, "I could never miss this awesome show." Although the view that he just sent me is a lot better than what I see here.
Okay, and Bob, you had a contract with Gerard's?
Yeah, Board, this is that item that I talked about where this solution allows us to scan the property tax stubs and the checks for one project and then just checks and for deposit elsewhere. This is a project with Gerard's Inc. The cost of this solution, the first year is $13,566. We've been working with the IT department and we're ready to install this tomorrow. So I'm asking you to approve me to sign this contract with Gerard's Solution.
I'll make a motion to approve this. It was discussed at length with the Technology Committee.
Okay.
And approved there. It should benefit the county as a whole. Only caveat is that you said you're going to install it tomorrow. My only concern is to make sure that before it's installed that IT has the time and everything is all set up for that.
Yeah, Commissioners, Adam set the installation time.
Okay.
So,
it's, from my understanding, it'll be very minimal with the IT involvement.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Delighten.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Potter. Further discussion?
Board, I'm going to charge this to my capital outlay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Next item, Bob?
just adding another thing to the Committee of the Whole. I think today we're going to select our credit card vendor, and my goal would be to introduce you to the process that we went through, how we chose our vendor, and then what is the expectation now that we've chosen our vendor, what's the next step. So at that meeting, we're going to present to you a credit card acceptance policy. We'll be talking about those situations, which will we allow our departments to absorb a fee or will they be passing it on?
Okay, and we're going to be here on the 15th. Would that work for you if
We'll
we
make
did
that
it
work.
after the Committee of the Whole regarding the jail? Would that work?
We could just add it as a second agenda item to that committee of the whole.
Okay.
Rather than creating a separate one.
Okay,
Since Bob will be involved in that committee meeting anyway, so.
all right. So just,
That works.
we'll make a motion to add that item to that Committee
So
of the Whole
moved,
agenda.
Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Hewsome. Almost messed up. First time ever. Right. Okay.
Today.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries unanimous. So, all right, thank you, Bob.
You have one more, Mr. Bob.
We do?
Thank you for both reminders. Information only, this Thursday at Cokato Township at 6:30, we have an informational meeting with the benefited landowners of JD 15. Stockholm Township was not available to us, so we did line it up with Cokato Township. There are a lot of benefited landowners on 15 in Cokato Township, so that worked out nice. Ron Rehnquist, the viewers, they've done their field work. We've sent out the reports to all the benefited landowners. Thursday night at 6:30 is where Ron walks the public through what they do, how they did it, and how to read their reports. And then on Friday, Jan is working with Ron to set up individual meetings with people that have specific questions about their assessments. But you're invited to come to it. This is a meeting that we're kind of bystanders. This is where the viewers are hosting the meeting with the landowners. So just information only.
Our new ditch coordinator will be there, I'm assuming.
Yep.
And
It'll be his first experience with this.
Yes.
Is he been outfitted with a flak jacket yet?
and when was that, Bob?
6:30.
This
right,
Thursday?
This Thursday,
at
6:30?
Cokato Township Hall.
And we're not expecting to have Kurt Dieter there and
No, I believe this one is run by the the viewers.
Okay, great. I just remember the last JD 15 with Kurt.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, that was,
Little fireworks.
that was some fireworks, yeah.
that would have been educational, that's for sure.
Yeah. And a little amusing.
Okay, and there's no motion for that, it's just informational, so. All right, thank you, Bob. Next up, committee minutes, personnel, Commissioner Houston, would you be able to do that? There was to be a meeting from October 25th.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, the Personnel Employee Relations Committee met on October 25th, 2017. Members present, Delighten Hewsome, Sean Johnson, others present, Goodrum Schwartz, and Michelle Miller. And the discussion was the on-call memorandum of agreement. Social Services Manager Michelle Miller distributed the original memorandum of agreement, MOA, from 2009 between the county and the American Federation of State County Municipal Employees, Council 65, AFSCME, regarding the on-call services. And she also handed out a proposed revision to the MOA, and see the attachments there. She said that because the child protection laws changed beginning 2017, they require a social worker must see the child in question within 24 hours of reported screened report. Miller said that Health and Human Services is currently sending investigators out on weekends and holidays when emergency child protection calls are received. She said the number of weekend and holiday calls is increasing, and spoke with Health and Human Services Director Jamie Schwartz and Human Resources Director Sean Johnson and the county labor attorney about modifying the on-call system. And the result was the revised MOA, which states the current on-call social workers would provide the initial face-to-face response required by law, as well as a safety assessment and plan. They would not complete the entire investigation. The revised system will require additional training for current on-call staff provided by Health and Human Services. And there are 8 on-call staff at this time. And we asked why all child protection, or Delighten asked why all child protection social workers were not considered on-call staff. She said that they can indicate whether or not they wish to be on call. And they're interviewed, and if they pass probationary period, they have no performance issues, they're placed on the rotating on-call schedule. The on-call weeks run from Wednesday to Wednesday. Michelle Miller said they get $50 per day, regardless of the number of calls. In the past, the weekend calls were less frequent, but now the social worker screens in the report, and they often have to leave their home, meet with a law enforcement officer, maybe go to the hospital, meet with parents and child, possibly place the child in foster care. So what the revised MOA proposes, paying the on-call social workers $50 per day during the 5-day work week and $75 per day on weekends and holidays. And Miller said that they'd also provide extra training at a net cost of $2,900. She added that on-call social workers would be eligible for overtime compensation when they're required to physically leave their location. There's also mileage and reimbursement. And just a clarification, that net cost of $2,900 was not for the training, that's what the additional cost would be. Is that your understanding, Commissioner Delighten? So to increase from 50 to 75, so that was, maybe just needs to be clarified a little bit. So anyway, there's enough, Miller feels there's enough new staff who are interested in serving the on-call rotation to keep every shift staffed with backup workers available. And Johnson said the next step is to review the proposed revisions to the MOA with their union. Delighten asked Goodrum, Schwartz, and Miller to make sure their mileage reimbursement policy aligns with the county personnel policy. Recommendation is to meet with AFSCME to discuss proposed changes to the memorandum of agreement. And with that, Mr. Chair, I will move the minutes and the recommendation with that slight clarification. Coordinator Kelly?
Just a question, if you had recommended language, or should we just move that net cost, perhaps?
Or take the extra training out.
Yeah.
put-
Just trying to
put the
find.
I mean, that should be a separate item.
Right,
Extra training is provided.
right, extra training, so I would propose, I would recommend saying that Miller said HHS will provide extra training for on-call staff, period.
I would move that the cost behind the weekends and holidays
Yep,
for additional cost of,
additional cost for increasing from $50 to $75 is a net cost of $2,900.
Okay, I see.
Thank you.
Yep, it just somehow.
Clarifies it a little
Yeah,
bit.
it
Okay.
clarifies it.
With that change, and Commissioner Houston made the motion to,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Lyden. Further discussion? Okay, go ahead.
Just so that you're aware, I was thinking that it made perfect sense that, you know, all those people that are dealing with the child should be on call, but in reality, you know, some of those people have younger kids, and it's difficult for them to be able to leave at a moment's notice. So those people that volunteer to do this, they have their situation a little bit different, so they can take that.
Right, and
Because when it's an emergency and they gotta leave.
Yeah, and God bless them for stepping up.
right.
Oh,
and-
absolutely.
And depending on where they live too, how
Yep,
far away
yep.
they are. So they don't always have that ability to leave in the middle of the night and drive a fair distance.
So
Where the kids are.
I'm hoping that, I don't know why the union would have any issues with this. It actually benefits their members, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Lyden. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved unanimous. Next up is the Technology Committee. Commissioner Lyden, could you take that?
What if I said no?
Well, you said yes before, so that might be very good.
Forgot. Technology met on the 25th. Members present were myself, Commissioner Derek Vetch, Adam Tagaro, Lee Kelly, Mike McMillan, Christine Parlow, Todd Hoffman, Bob Hivila, and Tony Rasmussen. Other presents were Olga Strobel, Sherry Nielsen, Connie Mae Cooper, Sherry Nelson, Connie Mae Cooper, Tammy Vaith, and Jen Rassett. A number of things were discussed. Office 365 status. The governance team has met and they're moving along with it. First thing that'll be happening is the email will be the first thing to move. The IT department will be the first group to do it to make sure that everything goes smoothly, and that way when the rest of the county is on it, that if there's any questions, they've had experience with it. They're dealing still with the BCA process, and it sounds like that's been moving along good, so that it should be happening fairly soon. And I believe, I don't think it says here, but I believe that at some time IT will be first developed by planning, and then planning and zoning in January, and then the sheriff's will be last, I believe, by February. Second thing was OpenGov, the dashboard module. Dashboard will be subscription cost of $18,000 a year. The module will be more useful with an automatic integration from IFS to OpenGov, which is another project. Adam Tagaro stated the estimate of IT time presently for both projects appears very small. The real time for the OpenGov would be much more useful than right now. They're having to physically download it into the OpenGov, which is okay, but for it to be much more useful to the departments, it needs to be connected automatically. So they're looking at doing that. The recommendation was to move forward with the dashboard and integration, funding being provided by turnback dollars and CIP if necessary. We did say that the dashboard is not being utilized heavily by county personnel. That would be open to the option of not renewing the subscription if we find it going forward that nobody's using it. And OpenGov will be here, I believe, is it still November 6th for presentation?
November 9th,
November 9th.
Thursday.
Okay, so we need to change that date on there. I know there's a number of different changes going on there. Item number 3 was the ERP.
Number 3. Number 3.
Isn't that what I said?
2, I thought.
I said item 3.
Well, we'll have Derek play that back and let us know. I might have heard
Item 2.5.
Go ahead.
The enterprise resource planning, and you met the new BA who will be working with that. And again, we've tapped Infotech for some information. We are still on plan to decide by the end of 2017 if the county as a whole is going to pursue it. I'm assuming that once everything is gathered, there'll probably have to be a committee of the whole to hear all the information. It's not a real simple thing to decide. We're going to have to look at it to decide whether or not we really want to go with it, because it's going to change the way we do business. There's a lot of things that it will replace. So I'm excited to see our new BA is tackling it, and I'm looking forward to happening. Item number 4.
What number was that, Commissioner Glyden? Okay, couldn't hear that.
I think it was number 4 this time.
Was it 4?
I think it was 4, because that comes after 3, doesn't it? This we just approved regarding the check scanning. And it was, again, it's going to be able to eliminate some of the manual inputting that the Treasurer's Office is going to have to do. It should make things more efficient, less chance for mistakes to occur. And the reason they wanted to get going with this is that the ag payments are in November, so it gives them a chance to practice, work out the bugs before next May when property taxes come due. So that's the reason why I kind of got a big push here all of a sudden. Nelson stated the infrastructure team will also be able to shift schedules, but acknowledged that the Office 365 implementation will be slightly affected. But again, this we figured, the group as a whole felt that this would be much beneficial to try this out now under this smaller pressure compared to next May for property taxes. So the action on this was to move forward with purchase of check scanning product and the IT implementation, and acknowledge that there might be some delays as the urgency of install might not align with availability of IT. Item number 5, credit card processing. And you heard from the auditor regarding our committee as a whole to discuss this credit card processing. And it has been decided that they're going to do it in phases, which will make it a little bit easier to implement. And there are some changes that we're going to have to try and figure out on which way we want to implement. And again, do we pass on some of the fees we can't pass on, how we're going to handle all that sort of stuff. So there'll be more information coming. They've been very involved in this decision. It's taken a long time to get to this point.
Yes.
Frustrating thing about government. Meeting frequency, starting in January, we're going to probably start meeting twice a month, the IT or the technology committee. The last 2 meetings of this year, because we only have one committee day, in each month in November and December. So we're going to use, starting in January, the second and fourth Wednesday of the month, which are committee days. And it's just to start speeding things up. And what we decided to do is, the first one we're going to talk about either new projects, and the second one will be status or vice versa. It'll depend on how it works out. So yeah, the first meeting for discussion, presentation, with the second meeting being used to decide and move forward. So gives you a chance to do some research and all that sort of stuff. Eventually, we want to get back to the once a month meetings, but right now, with technology, kind of getting it up to speed and getting new people on, we felt that this would be the best to move forward. Some of these meetings get quite long, as you can see.
Yeah.
And it's not just the real simple things that we're discussing either.
No.
It has a broad implication and broad impact to the county as a whole. Item number 7, just an update on the project portfolio. For the most part, it was tabled. Currently, there are 89 active projects, although I believe we put on a couple of them on that day, so they probably went up a little bit. And the number 8 was the squad car cams. Chief Deputy Hoffman, Watch Guard, they had looked at a number of different vendors. They had it narrowed down to 2, and they're going to do this over a 5-year time period. 20 squad cars will be transitioned to the Watch Guard cam system each year, and background is that our current squad car cams are being going by the wayside. They're no longer being supported. So we're having to update it. The current ones aren't capable of working with body cams, so this new one will. So in the future, if that decision is made, this system will be able to work with body cams in the future. So it's a smart move to go to something that'll take care of us in the future. They're still not sure whether or not they're going to be using existing servers, if there's going to be some hardware that'll need to be upgraded. They pretty much have decided the cloud storage was out. It was too expensive. Currently, there's split retention for CAM data. Poly states after 90 days, the data is disposed of if no use of force, and B, if it is not case specific. If either of those things are applied, then the data is kept. The squad cam project will be presented with the watch guard quote at the November 15 meeting as a final decision expected to be made at this meeting. And that will be the meeting at the Technology Committee. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve these minutes and all the actions, recommendations.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Delight and second by Commissioner Newsom. I did have one question, and Todd, maybe you can help, or you could. The body cams, if they ever did add them on in the future, they work with the squad camera. Is it like a Bluetooth signal or something that would go onto the same recording thing at a different picture, or how will it work, or does it have its own memory? How does it share between the squad cam, I guess?
Technical answer for that is yes and no.
Okay.
The short
Thank you very much.
It depends. This project's going to take approximately 4.5 to 5 years to complete. The current technology that they have today may be different than 5 years from now. But currently, yes, their body camera has an internal storage system. It would have to be downloaded probably either every day or every other day. So there is no wireless download of the actual body cam at this time.
I just thought with technology, and maybe they will by then, they'll just have this where it will be paired with the recording device from the squad.
Correct.
But then I suppose, you know what, though?
Get too far
You
away.
No, you get in a foot chase, right, and now you're 200 yards away and you're
Or
out of signal.
half a mile away.
Yeah, that would be a drawback, okay.
Hey, Mr.
All right,
I have a question.
Commissioner Potter.
Chief Deputy, another question here. On the squad cam, the $167,000 plus the other years, is that cost incorporated into the contracted hour cost when you're doing that, like the old cameras? That expense was factored into the per hour charge for the deputy being on, is this same as that or not?
For the contract cities?
For the
you're saying?
For contract cities.
Yeah.
It would be on the following, the subsequent contract year, because we haven't incurred that cost yet.
Okay.
We always do 1 and 2 years past to get the current contract.
Okay, but the concept of where you're accounting for this has been discussed and have a
Yeah,
plan.
It definitely will be a part of
was
that
the
next
question.
contracting.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chair, go ahead. You know, the other thing is it kind of the cost of doing business? I mean, we currently have, you know, a system in place too, so.
Right. And-
You know, it's one of those things that it's a necessary evil to have.
Yeah, and Commissioner Deline, when Joe Q Public looks at the cost of this, which isn't cheap, it needs to be done and say, well, I might require it to be done. They say, how are you paying for that? Well, we have an answer.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I'm looking for, because accountability to the taxpayers is what we're supposed to be doing up here anyway.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, Chief Deputy, the current cameras have been in those squad cars for a long time,
Okay,
many years.
Were they Super 8?
anything else from the board? We'll have a vote here. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The minutes and the recommendations are approved. And next up, we have advisory committee, advisory board updates. So go, Mike, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, not advisory committee, but the tax forfeit auction last Thursday I attended, and we sold quite a few properties, which was good.
Oh, good.
A couple other ones under question in Monticello. We need to talk with the administrator up there because there's a lot of specials attached to them, and have them engaged and get Monticello to take them off. Our guys having a look at them, and they deal with them. One's by the movie theater, and one's west of where the Runnings, the old Kmart was. Both larger parcels that is just your average person isn't going to buy. But I was impressed with Bob and his staff, how they ran the auction. Even Brian chimed in a couple times, which is good. And I thought it was pretty successful, and we had multiple bidders on multiple properties, you know, so it was good process. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner Bennett.
I have nothing this week.
Oh, wow.
I know, I mean, I've had meetings, but nothing to
I'm going to be using up my
report.
time here. So I had planning and zoning meeting last Thursday, and we discussed the Rolling Hills landfill thing. Of course, the only commissioner on there, and then I would be chairing the next meeting on November 15th. But just in the interest of impartiality, I have asked Commissioner Delighted to run that meeting, and he has agreed to do that. So that way it kind of removes any, you know, like bias or whatever.
Sure.
So.
Okay.
We still haven't settled on the cost, though.
Okay. And then we'll work on that. Okay. And then at the Fair Board meeting last night, a few different things there. The City of Howard Lake they have come to us like over a year ago about putting that trail out on the east side of County Road 6, and then it would cross over County Road 6 to get to the fairgrounds, but it would access Codger's Cove. And they had asked the county to share on that, and they came up with a better solution, I think, now, because they actually turned some TIF money back to the county. And then I think I'm probably going to ask Lee to just put this on the consent agenda for next week, but to actually return that TIF money back to them, that would kind of release us from any costs incurred that way. And they said they would be fine with that.
Seems like a good solution.
And then the one thing there, the little caveat though, if there was to be a trail from County Road 6 onto the fair, that might be something that we would put some extra money in at that time. So I think it's a good solution, and looking forward to that. The other thing is, and I was not at the annual meeting, but you were there, Mike, and they did say, they mentioned they have quite a few different paving projects around the fairgrounds where the blacktop is breaking up, where it could be somebody, you know, tripping or whatever, and so it's, want to be looking at that. So they're going to be bringing that forward at a later time.
I thought there were some alternate bids for the fairgrounds
Okay.
out
Yeah.
there.
To clarify that, Mr. Chair, yeah, I had the Fair Board when I was at the annual meeting, or the Ag Society. It had them include all the areas where the asphalt is compromised, needed help, and forward that to Virgil.
Okay.
And those are all part of alternate bids, and we'll see how it comes out. And then,
Okay.
And I also, we're going to prioritize which ones are most important down there. So
Okay.
if we only have X amount of money, we can do A, B, and C.
And the one they were also, and I think it is kind of important, if they got a turn lane come off 6. I don't know why we didn't do that when they went through first time, but anyway, so yeah, that's good, then they'll do that as an alternate bid. And then the other thing is, just to put on the radar screen, they're looking at putting up a pole building for maintenance, kind of a maintenance building that would also be able to use for some storage too, so that's it. Thank you.
I can't believe Commissioner Houston didn't do this. Last Wednesday, the 1st, we had binding arbitration with the Sheriff's Essentials deputies, and so now it'll be, let's see, they have 14 days that they have to submit written, and then after that, the arbitrator has 30 days to provide us with an answer.
Okay.
So I thought it went well.
Yeah, I thought it went well.
Never gone to an arbitration
Yeah,
before, but it was very interesting.
it's an educational experience.
Yeah. So looking forward to the final from the arbitrator so that we can move on and move forward with the things we want to be dealing with here in the future. Oh, and then the other thing, I don't know if you guys, if you ever read the county news from the federal, from
NACO?
National Association, there was an article in there about recycling and how, I believe China is one of our biggest purchasers. Did you?
No, I didn't, I just know that they are.
Yeah, but they're getting real fussy on what they're going to be accepting for recycling plastics. So it might have something that in the future that's going to have an effect on the United States on recycling. So it's an interesting article that I recommend that you read.
I mean, they're shipping everything over here and then something on the ships to go back, so yeah, that makes sense.
So, but yeah.
I wish they'd take a little bit more of our grain, you know.
They send us the products and then we send them the empty containers back.
We'll put corn in them.
Well, I'm sure things will be improving since our president is over there this week, I believe. Other than that, I didn't have anything else.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Lee, anything from you? Anything from the public? Do we have anything to bring up? Okay. So then we are adjourned at, I'm not going to believe that clock. I think we're going to be adjourned at 9:50, 9:49.